Welcome to
House of Whimsical Terror.
I'm Esther.
I'm Mary.
And we are speaking to you from Tucson, Arizona.
And we're telling real stories of the fantastical.
And all of our stories are true or told to us as true.
Occasionally we do alter names to protect privacy.
And places for the same reason.
Yes. And this evening when we were testing our audio equipment here in Esther's lovely home, that we'll also have stories about at another time, we had a strange voice anomaly.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. And we're not quite sure what it was about. So
no, I heard it say it's kind of a gravelly man's voice saying, cool.
Yeah.
Like that. Something like that. But gravelier and manlier.
Manlier.
And we are going to actually not record it. It's already
We're going to post it as its own little snippet.
Yeah, snippet.
And we're going to call it
this podcast.
We should just call it Voice Anomaly.
Yep.
That's what we're going to do.
Yes.
And then you guys can listen to it and you can tell us what you think.
That would be great.
Mm-hmm. And
today I'm really excited. We have our very first guest.
Yes, we do.
And we have Citlali. And there is a story that she told me years ago that just haunted me. It stayed with me. Some strange episodes happened or events, and they were happening to her. And very similar things were happening with her daughter, but neither of them knew that those things were happening. It's a really, really interesting story. And Citlali is here. So thank you and welcome.
We're so excited that you're here.
Hi, I'm so excited to be your very first guest on this podcast. And I'm really honored that you asked me to tell my story.
I'm delighted that you're here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't even know the story. So I am excited.
Well, hopefully it won't be too scary for you because it is almost bedtime.
That's right. You know how I am.
Okay. Well, this story is one of many I have. However, this one has to do with a very specific place that I was living. This was a place on South Park in Tucson. South Park Avenue and 36th Street, kind of known to be a rough neighborhood. We didn't have any problems with crime or violence or anything outside of the house. Inside of the house was a different story. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the house, a little bit about what happened in the house. First of all, the house was a duplex, and there were 3 sets of duplexes. These duplexes, instead of the kitchen sharing a wall with the living room, these were back to back. So the primary bedrooms were abutting each other. And my husband and I slept in that primary bedroom with the bathroom en suite. And then my daughter slept in one of the rooms across the hall from us. And we hadn't been living there very long. And right before we moved in, my mother had passed away, and she was my daughter's beloved abuela. She was they were best buddies. I've never seen a granddaughter and grandmother be such good friends.
True.
And my daughter was very just heartbroken. And I remember her always saying that she wished that her abuela would come and haunt her. She really wanted her to come to her and be near her.
Now, didn't she, her abuela, say that she would come back?
I think she did say that. I think she would tell her that, and I think she really took it to heart. She's one of those people that's like, if you say something, you better do it.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure which side of this you want me to tell first. I have a couple of different stories that happened. And my daughter and I were experiencing things in the house at the same time, but we didn't share them with each other until years later. So I guess I'll just start with my side of it.
I think that's best, yes.
Okay, great. Because I think it's interesting kind of how it led up to us finding out about it from each other. I was experiencing a lot of sleep disturbances while I was living in that house and in that room. And there were like some really crazy things that would happen. Sometimes I would wake up and there would be something in the room, like a figure or something like that. And there were a lot of times where some interesting thing would happen, not just the nighttime stuff, like the sleep disturbances. Sometimes I would be kind of in a half waking, half sleep state, and I could see things on the wall there was a closet and not much else. And on that wall, I would see kind of like cuneiform script kind of falling into the floor.
Oh,
you know the Matrix code?
yeah.
So the Matrix code, but if it was pretty, like with cuneiform, and it was kind of a gold, and it was kind of terrifying. And there were a lot of times where I would wake up and be kind of paralyzed, and I would see some sort of like geometric shapes floating around the room, and I just remember feeling completely terrified. There were other things that would happen. One of the things this one was kind of nice. I was getting ready for my wedding, and my husband and I were living there before we got married. We were living in sin. And nobody does that. But, but we were living there, and as our wedding got closer, maybe about a week out or so, I started hearing people whispering, lots of people whispering when I was trying to go to sleep at night. And after a couple of nights of this, the voices started to sound more and more familiar. And I thought, oh my God, like my family is gathering for my wedding, and my family from beyond is gathering for my wedding.
Right.
So I said this, I said, look, I can hear you all whispering, and it's worse than if you were just talking in your regular voice. I need you to just talk, just feel free to speak and go about your business and whatever, because with the whispering, it's creeping me out and I can't sleep. And then it was fine. No bother, nothing bothered after that. So that was kind of interesting. And the weird thing about this, you guys, is that house it was new. It was new construction. I didn't know what it was about it. The neighborhood, though, very historic.
Right.
That whole area right there was the first place the African-American people could buy property in Tucson. They could buy, houses or land.
True.
It's been
the land
there.
Holds the stories.
The land holds the
land
Exactly.
Holds the stories.
And then there was this one night where I was sitting on my couch. And let me back up a little bit. But every time I would go through the hallway between my daughter's room and the bathroom in the hallway, I would feel like something was behind me, or like on either side, the bathroom or her room or something like that. And I'd always be looking around like, what's going on here? And one night I was sitting on the couch, I was watching TV, and I saw this shadowy figure. And it was looking out from my daughter's bedroom door.
No.
Oh. And then it was kind of scurrying across the hallway. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. So then it would look out from the bathroom, kind of in this, I would say, mischievous, but not malevolent.
Oh,
like mischievous but not malevolent kind of a way of like, oh, can she see me? I'm going to try to run across the hall before she sees me.
Sentient, and it knew that you may be able to see it.
Yes. Yeah. And you know what I said? I after like many nights of this going on, I said to it, I just spoke to it. I said, look, I know that you know that I know that you know that I can see you. And what I need you to do is I need you to just, if you need to cross the hallway, just go across the hallway, don't try to sneak across the hallway. Just move across the
do it.
Yes, don't creep. Yeah. So just move across the hallway, move back and forth. You're free to do that. Just stop playing these little games. And that really cleared that up. I mean, it literally never happened again, and I never felt any like anybody was watching me or trying to
Right.
sneak around me. So all of these things happened in the house, and I never wanted to say anything to my daughter because she was sleeping in that room. And I knew that she wasn't in danger, but otherwise I would have done
Right.
something. And years later, we were kind of gathered around telling ghost stories around the fire, and I was telling this story. And my daughter was like, her eyes were like tearing up and just open really wide. And I think she was an adult at this point. Like she was probably 18 or 19 years old. And she was like, oh my God, why didn't you tell me? Because apparently she was experiencing a lot of things in that room.
Oh.
No.
So one of the things was that she started feeling like there was something in the room with her, and she was hoping that it was her abuela.
Mm-hmm.
However, it wasn't.
Right.
And she had recently told me that she was watching something on TV about paranormal investigators. And they said sometimes when you lose somebody, you're really close and you're really longing for them and really saddened by it, that it can be attractive to spirits that want to make connection with you.
Mm-hmm.
So she was, hoping that it was her abuela, but it was starting to become clear to her that it was a little girl. Maybe around 10 or 11 years old.
Why are little girls so creepy?
That's a really
That's
good question,
such a
because
great
when is
question.
it ever a little boy? It's always a little girl.
They're not creepy in real life, but as ghosts.
Oh, as
they're-
ghosts,
they're
they're
terrifying.
the worst.
And if they come as twins, it's worse.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Or the dolls, like there's never like a boy. Oh, well, maybe there is, but it's usually like a girl doll,
Yeah, it's very unusual.
like talking Tina or something.
That's like a
from
whole
that.
other podcast.
Twilight
really,
Zone,
isn't it?
yes.
Yeah.
Dolls, yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So one of the things that happened to her, I keep saying one of the things, but there were several. And one of those things was that she was sleeping and she just distinctly felt like somebody was standing beside her bed. And she opened her eyes, and there was a silhouette of a little girl. She closes her eyes. Just go to sleep. Just go to sleep. It's fine. It's fine. Just go to sleep. She opens her eyes. Little girl standing by the door.
No.
Yeah. Who knows if it was the same night that she was sneaking across from her room to the bathroom or not, right? Yeah. And that was kind of an interesting, it was haunting her for the longest time. And if I would have known about it, I would have been like, we'll get to the bottom of this.
Right. This is how you're going to do this.
I'm going to sleep in the bed, and you go in my room, and then we'll trick her, But that was interesting because she was basically being haunted for. How long were we there? A couple years. And she said once we moved into our house that we live in now, which is a whole other story for a different time, she said she finally felt at home. She just never felt like she was at home in that other house.
Wow.
Because it was someone else's house.
Oh, because it was that little girl. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And how remarkable that you really didn't know that each other were experiencing these things, and just kind of came up in this other context so much later. Wow. It was meant to be that you had an opportunity.
Exactly.
To finally connect those dots.
Now we're going to tell each other everything that happens, right? And that's what smart thing to do.
Yeah. And we've done other haunted house podcasts and talked about, like, I'm just a very firm believer, I know that you probably both are as well, that this land it's old land, and and I believe that it does hold a lot of stories. And in your case, obviously, that was the story for that location, for that.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Citlali, you have other stories. Are we saving those for a future podcast?
I think so. Yeah.
Right.
I would love that.
So you'll be back on, and
Oh, yes, she will.
Yeah.
I was so delighted.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being our very first amazing guest, and thank you for that story. It's really, really terrifying.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I hope your daughter is listening in and
Yeah.
hearing.
I bet she is.
I bet she
I
is.
bet she is.
And for our other listeners, I certainly hope that you enjoyed our first guest this evening, Citlali, and also that you will follow us and, tell your friends about our podcast. So I think that's it.
Thank you, Citlali.
Thanks.
Thank you.